This is a 6 in a series. This will be on the Mercedes-Benz, the 123 chassis, which would be your 240, 300D, and also your 280E class cars. They went from like 1977 to 1985. And this specific issue is going to be more for the 1977 to 1981 that are the pre-non-turbo 123 chassis. What we're doing today is going to be on the vacuum system for the door locks, which I know is a complete headache and is something I've actually halfway I feel like I've mastered, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this series, is to explain more or less how the system works, what the components are, and then how to check for any type of particular leaks. And so if you'll follow me, what we're going to do is first start off with this diagram. What I'm going to do is show you more or less what the components are. What you have here, this is the actual diagram you can pull if you go to a Google search for the Mercedes 123 chassis vacuum locking system diagram. And in here it shows the basic flow chart of how the vacuum system with the lines actually works. And if you actually come inside the engine compartment, which is where we're going to start, we can begin here, work through the doors, and then end up basically in the trunk. Right, what you have is the vacuum pump, which is actually located right here in the very front, right below the power steering reservoir. And then this works into the brake master cylinder and also your power booster for the brakes. You have a vacuum line that goes into the temp sensor. One runs to the transmission. The other goes up into your cruise control. There we go. And then the main topic going into your actual, this goes into the injector pump. And then in here, what you have is there's a T, and in this T is where it starts getting crazy, because in here you have, there's a two-way valve, which is here, and what it does is it basically, it blows through in one direction, and then in here it can bypass each other, and one line actually goes to a reservoir that's in, on this particular case, under the package tray in the trunk on the sedans and the coupes, and under the station wagon it's underneath the bottom of the car, underneath where it would be either your third row seating or where the cargo space is. But anyway, then you have one line that goes directly to the reservoir that actually what it does is the pump is generating pressure that goes into this reservoir, almost if you would like on a little compressor that you'd use like for air at the gas station, or if you have a compressor at work that you use any pneumatic tools, you use the air that's in the tank to generate your power, and then the generator kicks back on, and in this particular case the pump, to recirculate more air to keep the pressure up. But anyway, you have a two-way valve. One's going inside the dash, and part of it controls the climate control for the air conditioning heater and vents, and then this other little valve goes into the door lock system itself, which is what we're basically what this topic is about. And then again, the last one is the one that goes into the reservoir, and I'll show you where the reservoir is. Okay, in the door, when you actually open the door, we're going to pretend like I do a key and open it, and then magically all your door locks pop up. There's a master lock, and in this particular case, it's located here, and on your earlier 123 chassis, this is what the piece actually looks like. And I'm one of these, I'm beginning to get, I'm becoming a master on parts, if you will. So, parts, hopefully this will make some sense. Anyway, there's a yellow line that runs in the engine compartment that basically is your feed in the center into your door lock switch, and this is where the air is coming up for all your door locks, the trunk, and also the fuel door. All of it is basically being sent in here, and it's set up exactly like this. You have a little rod, if you will, like a little push rod that's on the end of this cylinder, that opens and closes, and it actually actuates the door lock mechanism here, and it also on your key. So what you have is on one, pardon me while I put my glasses on, you'll have the green, which is this. This is your unlock. And then on the red, which should be this one here, is the door lock itself. So when you're opening the door, you're having air in here that's actually unlocking, and it's pushing these actuators. Like in this case, it would push, if I'm not mistaken, it pushes back. Let's see, I think it pushes back, and then the air basically pushes this up, and then in each of these other actuators, what it does is it'll push up, and then the push rod goes with it. And then in this particular one is your lock. So when you lock the door, all these push down, and here's your line, and it's running into the basically through your kick panel here, and into the dash, and then also into these lines that if you pull your carpet up, or I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's two separate ones which are here. And what you have is one line that's going to be a green is going to unlock this door, and you're also going to have a line that locks the door to the back, and then your second line goes under the console and into your passenger side doors. And your actuators are going to look like this. And basically what's happening is when you are unlocking the door, you're having pressure that's unlocking the door. When you're locking the door, pressure basically pushes the actuator down, and there's a push rod that basically is pushing all of these little doorknobs down. What I found is in this one, just to show you an idea, this is the one I've been having trouble with. This is why we're here. And on this side, you have 3 lines. This line is basically what's come from the driver's side and is bringing air to lock the system. And then on this other one, where it has 3 lines, this is what actually unlocks the system. And in this particular case, I've blocked it off, and this is the line that actually unlocks this door, and here's the door lock actuator itself that's down here. You have one that unlocks the doors and unlocks the doors. You also have another line that locks and unlocks this door, and the reason why there's 3 lines here is you also have the fuel door, and it's in the trunk, and you also have the trunk lock that's in here that also work off the vacuum. Your fuel door looks like this, and what it is it basically, if you go inside under this plastic, you should be able to see the 2 fasteners that actually hold that in place like this. And there's also a spring that's on the end, and what happens is that locks it. This other one unlocks it. So you have air going in on the yellow and red, and then your yellow and green is here. And again, if you were to have it inside the car and under here, it basically is going to fit back up here inside the trunk compartment. The reservoir that's controlling the air to your air system is here. If you can show that, Evelyn. It's under the bottom of your package tray next to your gas tank. And then there's also the air line, which is here. And if you can see that air line, and that's what's coming from the engine compartment in here where it teed off. I showed you earlier. Also for the trunk lock. This is what the trunk lock mechanisms look like. Again, I'm becoming a parts guru here from buying all this stuff for this particular car. There's a little door that's basically back here. And what this does is you have the same principle where there's two lines. All right. So this locks and this also unlocks. So it has the exact same principle as on this. Where one locked, the other unlocked. They're exactly the same. And how this goes in is these two fasteners here, and it goes just exactly like this into the actual lock mechanism. Okay? What you'll want to do is in your ventures that I've learned, let me see if I can get this back on quickly. Let's see. I think that's how it went in. I'll deal with it later. Is you will want to buy one of these mighty vacs. And in this, I've seen several people on YouTube and wherever that have used this and have recommended it. And I'll tell you what, this thing is worth its weight in absolute gold, because what you can do is come in here and basically hook it up like so. And what I do is I've kind of Mickey Moused a little bit to get it where it actually works with this application. And what we're going to do today, now that we've got the actual explanation of how this thing works, is I'm going to pull this little actuator out. So let me make sure I have my metric tools. Some sockets. Which is here. And again, I'm doing all this off the cuff. So if it looks like it's not planned, it's because a lot of it is non-rehearsed. Okay. Alright, what we're going to do is basically go in. This one, it looks like it is a 8mm. And basically this is your push rod that goes up into your lock mechanism that's here. Screw it. As such. Yeah, this is definitely one of the older ones. I've been through this thing, and I've luckily have a job where I've been able to just go in and do like an uncle of mine and just keep throwing money at parts and whatever until I get this thing to work. Okay, we pull these out, and what you do is on this is you push down, because this actually goes up to hold the push rod up, and you push down to release it. And then in here we go, and here is your green, and here is your red. And if I'm trying to remember which one of these little suckers, and hang on a second. Actually, it's in here. If you also are a golfer or know someone that is, these are worth its weight in gold. Especially with this line, because regardless if you go with 5/32 or I think it's 8mm or 9mm. Those you can't go wrong. Which you can pretty much go to Actuators, and you can also find a bunch of these guys on eBay that are all selling basically the same piece. Okay, what we're going to do here is unlock is at the bottom, lock is at the top, and let's see if I can figure out what I do with my hose. Because again, that hose is also worth its weight in gold. that line is actually holding vacuum. Okay? It disconnects. Let's go back to the same thing we had earlier. It's not holding back. I love having a short system. So basically this actuator was bad. You can see it's not moving at all. The other thing too is, as far as on these door panels, it's very simple. All you need is one is just a regular Phillips screwdriver. So you could use anything. This one I just happen to pull a toolbox. And that's for, in here you have Phillips screws that go here, back up in these two spots, and there's also a little one that goes back up behind here. And then you have the little saddles, or horseshoes if you will, that go in here. And you're using the regular flat screwdriver for the little cup that basically goes back up behind here, like so. And then the door panels themselves are real easy, because all you're going to do is align this back and basically set it back in and you pop them in. And it's just as easy to pull out. And these things are pretty much indestructible. So, anyway, hopefully that's helped. And again, if you want to go through a recap, we'll do this one more time. And I realize it probably seems somewhat confusing, but it's really not. You have a vacuum pump that's down here. And this is what's generating air. And there's like a little cam that's inside, like a roller camshaft that's basically moving. And you have like a push rod that's pumping the air. And the main line is going, tees off in here. That goes into your injector, your cruise control, thermostat, and then also back into your transmission. And then it rolls back into this two-way check valve, that one is going into the reservoir for the air that's either in the trunk, under the package tray, or it's under the car if you have the estate wagon. That would be under either the third row seating or the cargo area. You also have another line that goes into the climate control for your air conditioning and heating system, of which there's several of these little check valves here that are under the dash. One's behind the actual instrument cluster, the other one's behind the glove box. Then you have another line that's the straight yellow that goes, because basically this valve here is going to the reservoir, and they have another straight line that goes into your master lock, which is this. Which is this. And in here, once again, off that check main check valve. Then you have a line that's holding air pressure back on the check valve. But then you have all your main air coming from the actual little air pump in here to your, I think that was your unlock and your lock. Actually, yeah. Your unlock and your lock, right? Yeah. Because that's the green, that's your red. So this is locks. This one unlocks. And when you're locking, air's gonna come out through here. If you're getting any air anywhere else, especially through here, this valve is bad. Because it should hold air until you get to a certain point, and then once it releases, and what you're doing is you're taking all the air from here and kicking it out. And that's what's basically moving these other little actuators to where they're either going up or down. And the up is when you're unlocked, and then the lock is when it's basically depressing again. And all these lines basically go through the door, under the panels, like your kick panels on both sides. And then again, they basically go through these lines that are right next to like the floorboard where your rocker panels are. And you have one that locks and one that unlocks the back door on this side, and another line that goes across to the other two actuators, because you'll have 3 of these for your doors. Anyway, as a last, look at this one more time, just so that you get kind of an idea of what's happening again here. Because this is pictures worth a million words. So the pump, your power booster to your brakes. Here's your 1T. You've got one line off of this that actually goes into the reservoir, which is here. The other one goes into your master door lock switch. And then, let's see. Yeah, you've got your yellow and red, so that's the lock. This is your unlock. Okay? And then here's the door actuators. Here's your fuel door, and then there's your trunk. If you have any questions or concerns, please get in contact with me. Hopefully I didn't over-confuse myself when you're watching me do this, but it is off the cuff, and hopefully it helps. Thanks again for your time.